this video, you will learn what a powerful first impression is. You will also learn about the 5 tips to make a powerful first impression. What is a first impression? In psychology, a first impression is the first time that we meet someone and form an idea about who they are. Here are 2 facts about first impressions. Fact number 1. In the first 10 seconds of meeting someone, we make 27 impressions about them. We make lightning quick judgments about what they are wearing, whether they make eye contact with you, how they hold their hands, and so much more. The second fact is that within the first 4 minutes of meeting someone, we've made up to 80 to 90% of our minds up about them. These 2 facts explain why first impressions are so important. We make our minds up about other people very quickly, and this impacts how we listen to them and treat them for the rest of the conversation. And that's why we need to make sure that we make a powerful first impression and put our best foot forward. I'm going to share with you 5 tips to help you make a powerful first impression. The first tip is to have a strong handshake when you meet people in Australian business situations, with one exception, and I'll speak about this exception a little bit later on in the video. To show you what a good handshake is, I'm going to have 2 volunteer students join us and give us some demonstrations. When meeting people, extend your hand out to the person you are meeting, and don't be afraid to be the first to do this. You want to ensure that you're making eye contact with them when you're shaking their hands and you're smiling at them. Make your handshake strong and firm. And stand about 30 to 40 centimeters away from them. Don't stand too close or too far away from them. You greet both men and women in the exact same way. You also greet those who are junior and senior to you in the exact same way. So let's take a look at bad handshakes. First, don't do the wet fish handshake. This is where your hand is very weak and limp. Finally, don't squeeze their hand so that it hurts them. Now, I mentioned that there's one exception to the handshake rule when we meet people. And this is when we meet some Aboriginal or Indigenous people in Australia. We may go to shake their hands, but some of them may choose not to shake your hand. This is not something to be offended by. Be mindful that some Aboriginal people may not like us making direct eye contact with them. If this happens, we take our lead from the person that we are meeting. If they do not make eye contact with us, then we shouldn't either. Let's move on to tip number 2. This is to make eye contact with the people that we meet. A moment ago, we just looked at how important it is to make eye contact when we shake hands with someone. We can also make eye contact with someone when we're talking to them. We don't have to make eye contact for the whole conversation, but every now and then we need to make sure that we make eye contact with them. If we look away too often or we don't make eye contact at all, the person that we're talking to may think that we're a bit nervous or we're hiding something from them. So the right amount of eye contact helps someone to trust us. Tip number 3 is to smile. When we meet someone, it's also appropriate during conversations to smile. And here's some facts about smiles. Smiles have something called a feedback loop. This means that smiling makes someone feel happier and more positive, even if they aren't feeling that to begin with. The physical act of smiling actually creates the emotion of happiness. It's a simple tip, but an important one. Tip number 4 is to pay attention to how we smell when we meet people. I know it sounds funny, but a lot of the time we don't pay enough attention to how we smell when we're meeting someone for the first time. And it's something where you can make a bad first impression if you're not aware of it. Here are some 2 simple suggestions. Pay attention to your breath. Pop some breath mints in, or Tic Tacs maybe, into your mouth, or wash your mouth out before you meet someone. Also pay attention to your body odour. You shouldn't smell like you've just come out of the gym or the kitchen. If needed, use deodorant, cologne, body spray or perfume to make sure that you smell really good. Don't overload it though. Tip number 5 is to be aware of your posture. Posture is how we hold our own body. If you're standing, good posture is standing up with our back straight and our shoulders back, our chest forward, keeping our chin up and looking forward. You want to pull yourself up. A bad posture is when you slump or you slouch. Maybe you curve your back and you bring your shoulders forward. There was a study done by the Harvard Business School that looked at the power of posture. Let's say you have a job interview coming up or a meeting for the first time with a new manager. It's normal in these situations to feel nervous, but even if we feel nervous before we go into these stressful situations, we should hold our bodies in good posture pose. So shoulders back, back straight, and stand tall, for example. The reason that we do this is that the study found that people who had a good posture came across as much more confident and enthusiastic, and as a result they actually performed better in these situations compared to those who had a bad posture. One of the reasons behind this is that good posture increases the amount of testosterone in our bodies, and this makes us feel more confident, whilst a bad posture actually increases the amount of cortisol in the body, which makes us feel more anxious and stressed. The final thing I wanted to share with you is that these days we work in a global environment, and in the future, if you work and study in other international destinations, keep international etiquette in mind. Always take the time to research what is expected of you and how to work with people from different cultures. Research things like dress codes, how to meet and greet people, the role of social hierarchy in that culture, and so on. As a recap, in this video, you learned about the 5 tips to make a powerful first impression in Australian business situations, including having good handshakes, making eye contact, smiling, having a great posture, and being aware of how you smell.